I have a new intro. Not two balls, one basket, not NBA Hangout, but it's both. Welcome to a collab episode of Two Balls, One Basket and the NBA Hangout, both brought to you by the Playbook Sports Network. I am your host, Jordan. With me today, I have co-hosts of the NBA Hangout podcast, Brandon, John, and David. Don't know your last name, but I will soon.
It's Campbell. Yeah,
Campbell,
like the soup.
David Campbell.
Yeah. Nice
What's up?
cadence. David Campbell. Two tones each. Works.
All right, boys, how we doing?
I'm good. It's been
Yeah.
it's been a week, man. It's been a week. How about you?
I'm not rich, so not going great.
We're getting there.
One
though.
day.
Yeah.
One day, very soon.
I appreciate you're watching hockey in the background, by the way.
Yeah, I got a bet on the Panthers, but I don't even want to.
Go Kachuk. He's my boy. I'm a Flames fan.
All right, boys. So let's get into it. I listened to your podcast and wanted to bring something up. The last
Let's
two
do
or
it.
three episodes, there's a lot of Pascal Siakam talk. I know David's a Raptors fan. I know Brandon's a Raptors fan. He won't admit it, though. I have a destination for Siakam that I think should happen if he's going to be traded. I don't know why they should trade him right now. The team's playing really well. Tell me
That's a
what
good
you
point.
guys think. Okay. David on the last episode said Oklahoma City has to start to do stuff with these draft picks. They can't sign 17 players. So why don't you take some of those picks? You go get Pascal Siakam. You get a veteran player because you need one of those come playoff time. Pascal Siakam's a veteran. Pascal Siakam has a championship under his belt. Why not go get him? What do you guys think about Siakam and OKC?
Brandon, you can go first.
I so I personally would like that. I think for OKC he gives them a little two-way ability at that like four position. And I think like with OKC right now, they have like their one, they have Shea. They have their two. They have Jalen Williams. They have Chet. But I think that the wing pieces are kind of like in flux right now. Like I don't think Dort's really like your long-term answer. I don't think Giddey is really your long-term answer there. Even though he's a good talent, I don't think he's the guy that would fit the best with those guys long-term. So me personally, I think Pascal would be good. He gives him another look, another guy who can get his own bucket on that team, which they might need come playoff time. So me personally, yeah, I would like that. I would like that to happen. If I was an OKC guy looking for a move to be made, but I just don't know if on OKC if the Raptors would be looking for a whole lot of picks, because we saw with the OG thing that they went for more so like a player for player package, like something that was like more so that they can still kind of compete, because they like to continue to compete. That's kind of how Masai kind of moves. So I'd be interested if the Raptors would be interested in that. But if I'm OKC, yeah, I would be looking into a player of that type of caliber to kind of solidify my core.
I don't think Masai Ujiri can turn down 5 first-round picks. Because if he does, I'm coming for the job.
He's beloved, man. Like you're gonna have to talk him out of it. No, I really like the fit on OKC. Like one of the things is that if you're going to OKC, you got to play their game, and they get up and they run and they play a transition game and they play a two-way game. All things that Pascal Siakam has done in the past and could add. Obviously, if you're like OKC, you probably want a little bit more rebounding, as that might be Chet's like only weakness. And I don't know if Pascal's really that guy. He does a good job, but he's not like a prolific rebounder. Partly because he can play almost 3 zones, depends on if his 3-pointer's falling.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as Brandon said, like it's really about the return for the Raptors. They're just outside the play-in tournament currently, and I really think it looks like they want to be in it. So it's really about young players. So I believe they have Kason Wallace over there. Mm-hmm. Is it a Kason led package? Is it a Josh Giddey led package? Do the Raptors take on Josh Giddey at this time? Right. he's a great player. They had interest in him in the draft. He's got obviously a situation going on right now. I think everybody who follows sports to this level kind of understands what Josh is going through. Any team's going to want a resolution on that, but he is a good young player who could be moved for a talent like Pascal Siakam. I do like the fit on OKC a lot.
I
It doesn't
got a
even
question.
necessarily be Siakam. I think they just need a veteran.
Yeah. Agreed.
I was gonna ask you, like, do you think between Pascal or like a Lauri Markkanen, because his name's been floated a little bit out there, who would you prefer in that spot? Would you say Pascal would fit better, or would you say Lauri?
I think Pascal would fit better next to Chet, just because he
Next to
can
Chet.
defend.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I think Pascal really kind of fits Chet a little bit more, whereas Lauri Markkanen likes to play the three, so he wants to be out on the wing. And OKC, like, he'd be a great addition to OKC, but I think they would like to shore up some of their weaknesses ahead of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because you're right, Brandon. Dort is not a long-term answer. And that's going to lead into my next topic. You guys also spoke about Dejounte Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember off the top of my head the destinations you guys had, but I have two.
Mm-hmm.
I also read one today. I read today that the Spurs are interested.
Yeah, that was weird. I read that too. I did hear that too, that they were interested in bringing him back.
Because that's the type of player you want to put with Wembanyama. Somebody who's been around the block. He knows that system already. He's talented. He defends. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Sounds
no,
perfect.
I like it a lot because Wembanyama needs a point guard, and Dejounte Murray is a very good point
Jeremy
guard.
Shohan is not that.
No, Jeremy Shohan is a very fun player who, like, seemingly can do everything but finish. He can create shots like crazy. He throws them up. They just don't go in. So he can do so much for your team, but he's not a point guard. You're right, Jordan.
What you got, Task?
Yeah. No, yeah. No, I like the Spurs. I like the Spurs fit a lot. Like, I think that makes ultimate sense for Wemby, and it makes a lot of sense for the Spurs because they need that guy, not just for Wembanyama, but for Devin Vassell as well. Like, he's still growing. And I think part of the issue with what's going on over there is they're putting him in a role where he has to create a lot and be like kind of like that playmaker, kind of like ill-fitted for that, similar to kind of how like Tyler has to kind of do that with the Heat, where he has to do a lot more of the playmaking responsibilities. I think on the Spurs, you want someone who's a true point guard who can kind of set things up. He's a vet now at this stage of his career who knows where the ball should be at all times, knows time, knows clock, knows possession. But I think Dejounte going back is great for both parties. I think Dejounte kind of misses that system type of thing. I think that was good for him. I think that really helped him grow. So I think it would be cool to kind of see him go there. You said you had a couple other teams though. What were the other teams that you had on your mind?
Before I get that, I want to state I agree with Dave's point from the podcast. I'm trading Trae Young before I trade Dejounte Murray. That's me though. I don't get the infatuation. The offense is there.
I got into a debate with my coworker over that today. They were like heavily like, no, they got to keep Trae, and I'm like, I don't know if they do. I
hope they keep Trae because that means they're never gonna push me for a championship.
I think the question you have to ask yourself if you're the Hawks is Trae a top 10 player who can lead you to a championship? Because if he's not, you're currently treating him like he is. You're building a team around him like he is. And if he's not that, then you do have to make an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Teams don't win championships without top 10 players. It's just so common. You got to have one of them. Look at the Raptors. They couldn't do anything until they got Kawhi. And they haven't done anything since.
I mean, technically, Golden State's first one, Steph Curry necessarily wasn't top 10 yet.
That's
yeah. But he might have a top 10 career now, right?
Wow, he had that bitch 5 years ago. All right, my next two. Another one, Oklahoma City. And this leads on to what Brandon said. Dort's not your long-term answer. Okay, Dejounte Murray could be. Actually, he will be, because if they go get him, that team is horrifying. Because he's a better scorer than Dort. They're both really good defenders. And Dejounte Murray creates for others better than Dort does.
Yeah. I wonder if you would run into the same situation that you do on the Hawks, where it's kind of like DeJounte is kind of like picking and choosing his spots, and it doesn't look super comfortable with him like next to a true lead guard. That's my only worry with that. Like we see it right now with like the Hawks, how that kind of has worked. Like some games it looks really good when they're both clicking and they're both like getting everybody involved. I think Shea is a better like guy to bounce off of than Trey is. Like I think if you're on the Hawks, it's Trey Ball. You're living and dying with Trey Ball no matter what. But I think with on OKC, there's a little more room for both of them to kind of play, make, and have their own lane. But I would wonder if there's enough basketballs there for that type of team. But I think with Dejounte too, I think if he's in the right system, I think he gives the buy-in. I think if he's with the right coach, the right people around him, he knows that he's going to be in contention. I think that you see a different version of him than you currently see as well. So I think that would be interesting. It wouldn't be my first fit for him, but I think it is an interesting
My first fit's coming next.
Yeah, like I agree with Brandon. Like it's an interesting fit. I wonder with Dejounte, and I'd have to watch him more, and maybe you guys can tell me, but is he a great like man-to-man on ball defender, or is he a great systems defender? Because he got to Atlanta and he's tasked with being like the man defender. And really his defense hasn't been what it was in San Antonio. Great system defense, right? So we've talked about him going to the Knicks, for example, which play a much better system defense. Does that unlock Dejounte more, or is he just kind of unmotivated in Atlanta?
I think what separates him from other guards, like guard defenders, is on top of being extremely quick, his arms touch the floor standing up. It's kind of hard to not be a good defender at that point. All you have to do is this.
Some guys don't even do that. Some guys don't get their arms up. Like they just stand in front of you.
Duncan Robinson.
No, yeah. No, I think that's an interesting point. Like the fit defensively, where would it be best for him? Yeah, I think when you look at like a Knicks versus an OKC, I think on an OKC they might throw him on more like man-to-man, like they might use him as more of your primary guy. Than on the Knicks, it's Tibbs defense. You're going to be playing whatever role Tibbs kind of wants you to play there. But I think in both situations, defensively, he should be good. It is kind of weird that on the Hawks, because the coach that they brought in there this past year, Quinn Snyder, he's a good defensive coach. But he hasn't been able to unlock that side of DeJounte as Pop was when he was with the Spurs. So it might be more of an issue of culture, like the system not the system, but the players that he has around him who he's feeding off of. You see some guys take lapses on defense when you're playing with like a Trae Young, Bogdanovic, all those kind of guys are not like defensive first oriented people in general. So you get a little lax in practice. You build these like bad habits. So I think if he moves to a team that just has that mindset that no, we're not taking these possessions off, I think he would thrive in either or kind of system. I think he's versatile enough to kind of do both there.
See, I hate the fit on the Knicks. I hate it. I think
Do you
put Dejounte Murray with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. I'm surprised the Brunson and Randle thing works. I don't know how anybody works with Randle. He's an idiot.
He's very good, heliocentric. Yeah. Like he's a finisher, and that's about it.
Like if you think Dejounte Murray disappeared on the Hawks, send him to New York.
Yeah, how many plays is Tibbs really going to run for him? Right?
Exactly.
Yes. It's going to be the Brunson show, and then when Randall can get his, he's going to force his way in to make sure that he gets his, which is kind of the reason why like him and RJ like butted heads a lot. Like they're all fighting for that basketball and trying to be the guy. And yeah, the next one is kind of tough, but I could see wanting to pair a more defensive guy next to Brunson to make that kind of gel better. But we kind of saw that with Trey, and the system in New York, I think, would be better for that to hide Brunson in that way. But on the offensive end, I think it might be a little bit of a, like as Jordan mentioned, like a struggle there.
You guys ready for the next one? I don't know how it would work transition wise. Utah. And this is considering they keep Lauri Markkanen, because I don't know why they want to trade him. Stop doing this bullshit where you get players and here, 3 first-round picks. Oh my God, I have 40 first-round picks. It's stupid. Especially when you don't trade them, you hoard them because Oklahoma City, at least now it's a little bit more of a desired destination. Who the fuck wants to go to Utah? Nobody wants to go to Utah. Nobody's requesting a trade and say, send me to Utah. No, they're saying, send me to Miami, and then they get sent to Utah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. I don't mind it actually, because you've got Walker Kessler there. You've got Lauri Markkanen there in this situation. You're bringing Dejounte Murray, who I believe is the same age range as Lauri.
Yeah,
that is the makings of a good young team. Like, that is something to build out from. Keontae George, that's right. Like, you're probably still gonna move like Clarkson. And maybe
Sexton,
even,
couple picks, that gets it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually like very on board with this, because it turns Utah from this team that just becomes like a dumping ground for like bad contracts to a team that's actually ready to build something, much in the way that OKC looked 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no, I think that's a good one. Like, yeah, it turns them into a team that's like more serious. Kind of like I might compare it more closer to Minnesota, like when they kind of got like Gobert and they took that kind of like that next step into being more of a solidified like playoff team. They went from like above around the play-in, outside the play-in type of team to now they're like, no, they're going to be a playoff team thing. I think Dejounte can kind of help them get to that step. They probably would need another piece there at some point, but I think the building blocks would be like, you have your core, I would say, and you would be able to build with that. And I think you would get the buy-in from all three. They don't overlap each other at all. Like, everyone still has the room to do what they want to do what they need to do to be successful on the basketball court.
I mean, shit, Utah's got enough to go get Dejounte Murray and Pascal Siakam.
Exactly. No.
They really do.
Yeah.
And they got more players than OKC has to give up.
Like, yeah, they do. They have more young, they have more young players that actually look intriguing that would entice other teams more so than OKC at this point. Because the players that you would want from OKC, they kind of want to keep. Like, even a Case and Wallace, they're gonna want to keep him. Versus like Utah, they have the freedom to kind of move on from some of those guys because they're not really going anywhere right now. So
they're kind of just there until the contract. It's time for a contract.
Yeah.
And Utah's like right there. If you look at the standings, Utah is 11th. They're fighting with the Lakers and with the Rockets for the play-in. Yeah. Like, do you go for it? Right now, they're talking like they're going to strip it down and go for a pick, but do you go for the playoffs? You get the revenue. You get much more excitement from your fan base. I think it's worthwhile.
It helps because if you do this move and then you make a playoff push, you see that your team is hot, your team is up and coming. That's when the summer comes into play because teams are like, oh, they're exciting. Like, I think I can make some noise there. It's the same thing with the Paul George and the Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers thing. Like, who the hell wanted to go to the Clippers? It's like if you were going to LA, you were going to the Lakers. And then they just decide, like, oh, I'm going to the Clippers. All it takes is one superstar to say they're going to this small market team, and then that small market team becomes the Clippers, becomes Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
That's the challenge, though. Not a lot of superstars go to small market teams because if you're a superstar, you want to play in New York, you want to play in Miami, you want to play in LA because you can maximize your earning revenue outside of the game, right? Mm-hmm. So it becomes about endorsements. It becomes about everything else that you can do away from the game that your celebrity means, that your stature as a ball player in a place like New York or LA or Miami means. So to have a superstar just like look at Utah and say, hey, like, I'm going there because they have a good collection of talent. At that point, you need a ring chaser.
Mm-hmm.
And the only kind of ring chaser right now is LeBron James. So does Utah draft Bronny James? It gets you LeBron right now.
I wouldn't make the move then. I would tank.
Yeah, I would tank and draft Bronny, third overall. All
right, I gotta sneak some heat talk in here.
Oh,
Let's
of course, of
go.
course.
The fan base. Insiders have connected the Heat to point guard Tyus Jones. Now, Brandon knows needs of the Heat. I don't know. You probably follow the Heat. You seem like you know all your shit. Okay, well, the Heat's biggest need at this very moment is a point guard. What do we think about Tyus Jones' fit with the Miami Heat?
Me personally, I like the Tyus Jones fit. My my thing about getting a point guard like Tyus Jones, he's a good point guard, solid point guard. He doesn't really make too many mistakes. He can kind of do everything that the Heat need to do. He can run the offense. He could do all that type of stuff. Like he's good in that regard. My thing comes down to if you are going to get this guy, I think contract wise, you're gonna have to throw in probably Kyle. And if you throw in Kyle, which is fine, I have no issues trading though. With if you're not getting two guards back, you're back with one point guard and you're kind of relying on them to be. Tyus is like a decade younger than Kyle, so you could probably bank on him being ready when it comes playoff time more so than you can Kyle at this stage. But I think you still run into a situation, foul trouble, anything that happens in a game. I'll be just as concerned about the point guard position as I am now, with just a little more hope because you have a younger guy there. And I think the intangibles that Kyle brings are important to the team. Like he does do like these little things that do matter on the basketball court. Even though he's getting older, he's aging now. He doesn't play the defense that we need him to play anymore. But I think there's these small little things that go on throughout the game. Even certain shots that when he is willing to take a shot, because some games we watch and he just doesn't seem like he cares to shoot the ball at all. But I think there's certain games where he is locked in and he takes certain shots that are important in the flow of a game. I'm not too sure Tyus has that in him yet because he's not that vet like mentality that Kyle does. But I think you should go for someone younger. You should go for someone like Tyus. I don't know if he's worth going super in for that move. If you're only going to be like if you're getting Tyus and you somehow pull in DeLon as well, then I think it's something that's more reasonable for the Heat.
My thing with Tyus is he does everything that we would need of him, but he's not the point guard that's going to excel Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, that's kind of
that's
same way I
what
would
the
look
Heat
at it.
look for. Like there's point guards out there that they can go get and back up Kyle Lowry, but they're looking for this specific type of point guard to get Bam Adebayo more involved than he already is. I mean, I don't know how much more involved he can get. He's shooting 20 shots a game now.
Yeah,
He's
but
awesome.
you want someone who's gonna like make it so that he doesn't have to rely on his ISOs and his post ups and all that type of stuff. You want someone who can like feed him in the short roll, feed him going downhill and something like that. And Tyus will do a fine job with that, but like you said, I don't think if he's the guy that's like going to really elevate Bam to that next level where Bam can go back to being your defensive anchor and focus more on defense, not having to worry about I got to also carry the offensive load here.
To me, Tyus Jones is a really, really good backup. Like he's such a good player, but he's a player that doesn't necessarily jump off the stat sheet in any given way. And to me, like when I look at the Heat, I see a bunch of guys who like even their role players bring some level of elite quality, right? Like I look at like a Duncan Robinson, and when he's at his best, he's one of the best 3-pointer shooters in the league, right? And so when I think of like Heat point guard needs, I'm more into like Alex Caruso. That said, I don't know if he can elevate Bam. Like that is a really interesting thing that you guys just brought up. As a Raptors fan, the acquisition of Emmanuel Quickley was all about can it elevate Scotty Barnes. So I really like this thinking of what can we do? Who can we bring in that's going to bring Bam to the next level? And I don't know if Caruso can do that, but he does bring elite defense. He is elite in his role, which is
Caruso is a Heat guy. So
yeah.
Aside from the getting Bam involved thing, he'd fit like a glove.
No, Caruso would be good, especially because the way that Miami's been defending that perimeter lately. Like You could use a Caruso. You can use a Caruso.
Well, point of attack defense, right? So does that make Bam better in the fact that like less guards are just showing up on his doorstep, trying to Euro step him into oblivion or something, right? And like Bam's got an elite second effort and an elite like ability to recover after like a quick guy gets by him. But yeah, like point of attack defense. What does that mean for him? Right. It may not open him up offensively, but it could help him defensively.
Right. Because like right now they kind of use him as their point of attack guy a lot. When in doubt, they're like, oh, Bam, go guard Trey. Like you go do that. So that's interesting. Like I never thought of it from that perspective, really. I've always thought about it on the offense because I just think that, like Bam's fine. Like he's like the defense is always going to work itself out, especially with like a Spo type team. But
this is better.
This is the first year that like I've kind of been like on edge with the defense. Like we've always floated around like the offense. It doesn't really bother me how the offense looks at times as much as the defense doesn't look this year. Like the defense taking the step back.
In their defense, Caleb Barton gets hurt every 3 days. Jimmy Butler has a baby toe that's like
Jimmy
now. Haywood Highsmith got a concussion.
Oh no.
When they're all back, if the defense still sucks, I'm on board with you. But right now,
that's true. That's fair.
Granted, you're still the Miami Heat organization. Like the backup should be able to hold it down.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I feel like in years past, like we've had these injuries, but the defense has kind of stayed the same. And then the offense is what kind of like wavers. Like you'll see the offense be like the 27th ranked, and all of a sudden it'll be like 11th ranked, and it'll go back and forth depending on the personnel. But the defense usually stays in that like top 10-ish range. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this year I just haven't seen that. But it could be just a matter of the guys who have been out have been the primary defensive guys.
All right. And now last topic.
If it comes down to push and shove, though, would you rather have Tyus Jones, Alex Caruso, or make a big trade for Pascal Siakam?
We don't need Pascal Siakam.
You don't need him, but it's like gravy.
So somehow, some way, we're running low on time. I guess we really got into it. I want to get into this topic, though, very briefly. Well, I'll ask each of you what you think.
Yeah.
The Warriors came out and said that they are committed to their veteran big three of Steph, Clay, Draymond. That's terrible. Move on. If your name is not Steph Curry, fuck off.
You can go.
Draymond, they should have let him retire. Klay Thompson apparently had a nice bag in the offseason, turned it down because he's like, oh, I'm going to play myself into a contract, and now he has no contract. What do you guys think about them committing to those three?
I'm shocked that they said that, to be honest, because especially with the Clay stuff going on, I'm shocked they would commit specifically to him. Like I understand the Draymond thing, because Draymond, I think you just I don't know what you could do with that.
You're scared of what he'll do if you say you don't want him.
Yeah, like I don't think you could just trade him somewhere. I think he'll cause a fit somewhere else. So I think you kind of have to play the Draymond thing carefully. So I think no matter what, publicly you say you're committed to Draymond. The Clay thing, though, he's already not looked like the Clay that we've expected him to look like, even in his decline stage. And the way that he's playing, he's caused for a lot of concern over there. So I personally would not commit to Clay in that way, but I'm not the one making the moves over there at the Warriors either. But that to me is kind of like a red flag, because you see these young guys on that team keep bringing up how frustrated they are with the role, with the playing time, with all this type of stuff going on behind the scenes. And I think Clay even came out and talked about kind of how selfish he has kind of been in a unselfish way. So I don't think that's a good look, to be completely honest. Like, I think it's good at this stage. I understand that these guys won you championships. It was a dynasty. But all dynasties at some point they do come to an end. As sad as it may be for whatever fan base, it does happen, right? So I don't think you really owe Clay that much in terms of that at this stage of his career. You gave him the championship against Boston in 22. Like that should be enough gravy for them to go off and do whatever they want at this point. And honestly, Steph is he's still an elite player. He's still hovering around the top 10. He's still a top 10 player. So to waste another year of him doing this when his guys decline, I don't think it's the greatest move from the Warriors. But I can understand the sentiment that keeps him there.
So I think we're going to see whether or not Steph Curry has a little LeBron James in him. Because really, the Warriors will only move away from this like 2 timeline thing that they're trying to pull off that is not working if Steph Curry tells them to. If Steph's like, hey guys, we're going for it. I'm fresh. I'm ready. We can win more championships. We have to trade Kuminga. We have to trade Pozinski. We have to trade Trace Jackson Davis. We have to trade Moody to get it done. They can absolutely get it done. They have enough assets and enough firepower to bring in enough good players to bring them to another championship, or at least to compete for another championship. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to Green and it comes to Clay, really, I think it comes down to the re-sign. This comes down to, hey, Klay Thompson, we think you're worth 15, 16 million bucks now. It's what you bring to the table. We're not going to pay you for the past. We're sorry. You could have got paid last year for that, as you said, Jordan. But right now, we think this is what you're going to get on the open market. We're going to offer it to you here. You can stay, you can leave. This is your legacy now. It's no longer ours. Right?
There's a hard bargain there.
Bars. Hold on. Drop the mic.
like the Warriors have to take care of themselves. They do. And they can commit to either of these timelines and be a very good team, but they can't do both, and it's being proven.
Free Steph Curry.
Send him to the Heat.
Send him to Miami. There's got to be some jersey swap circulating.
Come on, somebody's on the trade machine right now putting this together.
I could text Harry. I'll have it done in 30 seconds. All right, boys, that's all I got. Is there anything you guys want to say? I mean, this was kind of fun. I had a lot of fun, actually.
No, this is great. This is great. Well, just thank y'all thank you for having us on here. It's been a blast as always. You can follow us at the NBA Hangout on Twitter. We drop a podcast every Monday. Every Monday, there's a new podcast in your pod feeds, Spotify, Apple, all those good places. Yeah.
And I think we're gonna post this on both of our feeds. So this will be on Two Balls One Basket
this will be on
NBA
both.
Hangout.
Yeah.
You can listen to it there. Listen to it on the Playbook Sports YouTube. Make sure you follow the Twitter at PlaybookSN. Visit the website playbooksn.com. Pumping content every single mother flipping day because we are taking over the world.
Yeah, we have to.
It's a matter of time.
All right, boys. Peace out.
Peace.
Cheers, buddy.